Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Agreeable Gray Area podcast. As always, I am your host, Al, or Leandra. Pretty sure everybody knows my name. I just like to say L because that's kind of what I go by on the interwebs. Today is July 21st, Sunday. It's around 5:40 p.m. I recorded an episode, I don't even know how long ago, maybe like a month and a half ago. And then, for whatever reason, Adobe Audition decided to just eat half of it. I was really upset because I really enjoyed recording that episode, and it kind of made me not really want to record. Like, I was just really pissed. Probably not smart of me to be recording on Adobe Audition again, but here we are. Old habits die hard. Hard to learn from mistakes, etc. and so forth. So, a lot of stuff has been happening between last episode and this episode. Just a whole lot of stuff. Like, I had some health scares, like some serious health scares. I decided to volunteer at the YMCA for 3 days for this group that I'm in at work. I don't know why I decided to do that. Well, I do. It's because the chief marketing officer asked me, and you can't say no to the chief marketing officer. So I decided to say yes to this. I am definitely not doing it again next year. If I do, it'll probably just be for 1 day, and I do not want to be part of spearheading it or anything. I am totally done with that. It made me realize and remember that I don't really like kids. Like in a big group, no. Like one or two, maybe three kids, sure. Talking to them, hanging out, but 20 or so kids that are like in middle school, no. Never again. It was a fun time. I learned a lot, and I learned that I don't want kids. Well, I already knew that, but now I definitely know that. Man, like middle school years that's so hard. And then to have to deal with that every day, like that takes a special group of people who can volunteer. I was just so high stress for so many months because of the health scare, then rolling right into YMCA thing, and then my job had a massive layoff, and that was a whole thing. It's pretty public, so I don't really think saying it on this podcast is a big secret. But yeah, like it's just been one thing after the next after the next. I literally told myself, like once July hits, I'm just going to focus on the things that I want to do. And that's what I'm trying to do. But that layoff at my job was like beginning of July. It was literally July 3rd, the day before Independence Day. And yeah, one of my good friends, she was like, "Oh, this is so un-American." And me and our other friend were like, "No, this is very American. Actually, this this is this is peak American right now." Ah, man. Anyway, with that said, I know I say this on every single diddly podcast that I'm going to try to record more often. But this time I sincerely do mean it. It's something that I really truly enjoy. It's one of the few ways I can really just express myself and express myself uninterrupted. I feel like as a woman, especially as a black woman, I don't really like Yeah, like especially as a black woman, I feel like, and the youngest of seven, I have a habit of listening a lot and then forgetting that people don't really want to hear what I have to say. Not like they don't care. It just seems like everybody has nobody that listens to them. It's crazy. So when they meet somebody like me who's, who enjoys listening, and I do enjoy listening. I do thoroughly, and like I love conversation. That's one of my all-time favorite things, as sad as that may sound. As someone who thoroughly enjoys conversation, I love listening. I love hearing. I love asking people questions. I love it when people just feel comfortable enough to express themselves and express themselves as their full selves to me. I consider it a blessing. I consider it a privilege. I consider it an honor. It does have, it's not really a double-edged sword, but maybe, I don't know. I can't remember what double-edged sword means, because what sword has just one edge? I mean, I guess like Rurouni Kenshin's sword only had one edge because like the blade was on the wrong side, so that's why he never killed anybody. Well, after he, I guess, came to Jesus, I can't remember what he did. He just stopped killing people, but he was like the Batosai. Anywho, y'all know what Rurouni Kenshin is. If you don't, definitely check it out. It's a amazing anime, amazing story. Yeah, so like I love doing this because it gives me the opportunity to just express myself uninterrupted. Although I would love to bring on more guests. I'm actually setting up my second bedroom to have that be a possibility. Also, my patio, I'm kind of doing it at the same time because why the heck not? It takes the same amount of equipment anyway. If we're just going to have two people, my patio can definitely hold a lot of people. Honestly, it could hold comfortably about 6 people, but a 6-person podcast is insanity. Like, who the hell would want to do that? Like, that would have to be a massive production roundtable sort of thing. But 4, definitely. 4 I can definitely do in my patio. And that's sort of what I'm working towards, like buying equipment, talking to Gil like all the time about it. This season for sure, season 3. Oh yeah, this is like oh yeah, because y'all didn't hear my last podcast because Adobe Audition ate it in half. So this is welcome to season 3 of Agreeable Gray Area. I wanted season 2 to get to 10 episodes, but then I was just like, nah, let me just end it at 8. Like a real Netflix series or HBO Max. I can't call it just Max. That's weird. That's my brother's name. But yeah, this season there's going to be video. I'm speaking it into existence. I am working towards that slowly but surely. This season is going to have more guests for sure. This season is going to be a lot better than the previous seasons, simply because I said so. Like, whatever, It's just going to be better. It's going to be bigger and better. I don't, like longer episodes, more action. No. Trying to keep the episodes like 30 minutes or under. Because, yeah, I like little, just like like a good anime. Episodes are like 24 minutes. If it's One Piece, it's like 18 minutes because the intro takes like 5 minutes, and then yeah. Yeah, like I've been watching a lot of One Piece, so I've been noticing that it's it's actually not as hard as you think to get through the episodes. I understand that they're on episode like, I don't know, 5011, but I'm getting close to 600. I know that. But I skipped like the first 60 episodes because I watched the live action, which it just covers East Blue. And I don't really have plans to watch those episodes, even though my boyfriend really wants me to. I'm like, nah, whatever. I'll figure it out. I'm just sort of watching it, just having it on in the background. It's a nice background show. But anyway, yeah, I don't know what that tangent was, but I'm also going to try to just have like very little editing, because editing just takes up a whole lot of my time. Maybe one day, if I have enough money, I'll, I don't know, have somebody else edit it, like on Fiverr or something. But as of right now, I'm a one-woman podcast band army. D, all of the above. So, yeah, so this is season 3. Welcome back. Welcome back me again to frickin' episode 1, season 3. I really hope Edition doesn't eat this podcast in half, because I do not know why it did that. There was literally no reason. It's not like I did Command Z, Control Z, and just undo and just did half. That makes no sense. And then you can't just redo. Like I tried doing that. It was just like, nope, we don't know what you did with the other half of the recording. I've never seen such nonsense. Anyway, so this episode, I wanted to talk about fear, like fear and anxiety, but in ways that it doesn't really, like, in ways that it shows up that you probably don't really realize it's fear or anxiety. I guess like mainly fear. Yeah, I would lean more towards fear. You know, like when they say procrastination is the fear of success, or the fear of failure. But I think it's more so the fear of success, because when you fail something, then you don't have to do anything after that, because it's like, all right, well, I failed that. That is the answer. However, if you're working towards something and you actually succeed, then you have to kind of continue. So I would argue that procrastination is more so the fear of success. So talking about fear, I wanted to talk about weird ways that fear shows up. So the other day, well, more other of a day, because I recorded this, initially months ago, or something like that. Anyway, whatever. So the other day, I washed my car. I honestly don't think I've washed my car since I've gotten my new car back at the end of 2021. But I washed it for like the first time, like hand washed it. I've taken it to, like a gas station car wash a few times here and there, and I've, taken it to like the dealership and they would wash it. So it's not like my car has never been washed since I've owned it. It's just I had never washed it. And this is going to sound silly, but I think the reason why I was putting it off is because I would tell my boyfriend, like, hey, when you get a chance, can you wash my car? And he was like, yeah, of course. Like, he loves, helping out, and, like, that's not really like a big deal to him. And like he also wants to wash his car, so we're like, yeah, this would be great. I have all the materials to wash my car, so you could just come over and wash your car and wash my car, help out or whatever. But I guess there was just like a weird sexist part of me that felt like, since I have a man in my life now, that the man will have to wash my car, even though I am fully capable of washing my car. But I don't know. I guess it was just like well, my neighbors know that I have a boyfriend. What would they think if I'm out there washing my car? Even though, like, they probably don't care. And even if they do, like, it doesn't matter, you know? Like, I really doubt that they're going to not help me out once, if something was seriously happening to me, my neighbors are just gonna not help out, they're not gonna be like, well, you have a boyfriend, at least, do you? Your boyfriend didn't wash your car, or like, no, I doubt that. Or, like, I don't know. Like, there's no logical reason as to why I had this reluctance, this fear of washing my car. I think it was just because of, like, doing it wrong. I didn't want to do it wrong, so I decided not to do it. And that was what was stopping me from doing this very simple task. Like, washing your car takes like probably like less than an hour. But like, I watched like so many videos on YouTube about it. I read stuff about how to wash your car. Like, I knew how to wash my car. It's just like I was procrastinating doing these things that would assist in helping my car, because knowledge is power. Knowledge is everything, but I wasn't washing my car. And it's just silly to think that it's only because I hadn't done it with this new car. So it was just new to me. I don't know. Like, it's weird. It's very weird. At the time, my front bumper was kind of falling off, so I don't know if that was like another reason. Like, oh no, this car is imperfect, and I am washing it. I can't be seen doing this. This is a travesty. This is bad. I don't know, but like, a lot of things, like, especially emotions, like fear is an emotion. Um, Confusion is an emotion. Worry is an emotion. And I was, worried about what they were thinking. Like, emotions oftentimes aren't really. I'm gonna say oftentimes. A lot of times they are. What am I saying? Emotions at times aren't rooted in anything. Like, there might be times when, like, you're just feeling pissed off about something, but you don't even know why. And it's because you read an annoying article like earlier that day, and it's just like glued into your brain. Like, you weren't really thinking about it throughout the day, but like, I guess in a way, like, your body keeps the score in some case, or just like your mind just kind of held on to it, so it just kind of put you in a crappy mood the whole day, and you just felt like kind of pissed off. I'm sure social media does that to us all the time. I did want to talk about social media, especially when it comes to voting, and I feel as though people fear voting because I feel like they treat it like their virginity for some reason. But I honestly think people are honestly afraid of doing it wrong, of voting wrong, so that's why they don't. I understand that we may not have the most engaging candidates to vote for, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't vote, because if you don't know who your comptroller is, if you don't know who your clerk of courts is, if you don't know who your city commissioner is or your city mayor, then you need to vote for them. If you don't know who your state senator is, if you in the state of Florida, you can vote for judges. And if you are cool with our judicial system in the state of Florida, then if you don't vote, then you're chill about it. Like, you're totally okay with it. I think we get so wrapped up in the main candidates, like the presidential election, because that's where most of the advertising goes into. That's where like the most money goes into it. So we think that that's the most important one. Oftentimes, if you actually look at the numbers of, like per state of people who voted for what, you'd see that most people vote for the president. But when you go what they call down ballot, when you actually literally go down the ballot to vote for other things like amendments to the state constitution, if you are, just other policies trying to be passed, or yeah, like other bills or policies trying to be passed and everything, a lot of people don't vote for them. So, or rather, like your state senator, or even like, like whether it's like your, just for like the state house, or like actual, for the federal level, people don't vote for like their Congress leader. So, because they just don't know. So they just leave it blank, or they vote for, I guess, along party lines. Oftentimes, even more so, people don't vote for the presidential primary. Today's July 21st, as I said before. Tomorrow, July 22nd, is the last day to register for the primaries. Like register as a registered Democrat or a Republican for the primaries, which will be in August. And this will be your opportunity to vote for a candidate within your party, because Florida has closed primaries. This will be the opportunity to vote for the candidate within your party that you align with the most. I say that because people like to say, oh, the DNC gave us this candidate. They just give us the worst candidates. Well, it's because people who actually go out and vote for this candidate. People went out and voted for Hillary Clinton more than they voted for Bernie Sanders. People who voted for Joe Biden voted for him more so than any other candidate, whether it was Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren back in the 2020 primaries. That's what happened. It's not, I understand that the DNC definitely has a push over things, like they may have, ran more ads for him. I don't know if they literally do that, but like, like Joe Biden was the vice president of Obama, so he had massive name recognition, for one. However, in 2018 in Florida, I can't remember how she was in politics, but her name was Gwen Graham. She was slated to win the Democratic nomination for governor. However, Andrew Gillum, who was a mayor in Tallahassee, won that year because more people voted for him. More people came out to vote for him. Therefore, he won. And we had an insanely close governor race that year. Both candidates, Gillum and DeSantis, did not make 50% of the votes. Both candidates were like, within like 0.4 percentage of each other. Very, very, very close race. If I say the number, you're going to think that this is a lot. However, I'll break it down for you and you'll see just how close it really was. Gillum lost by 30,000 votes. I understand that 30,000 sounds like a lot. However, there were 100,000 registered Democrats in the county of Broward, in Broward County alone, that did not show up to vote. And just in Broward County, there are 67 counties in the state of Florida, just Broward County alone. Granted, yes, it's the most Democrat county. It's the bluest county in the state. However, Miami-Dade is very blue. I understand it's becoming more and more red. However, it's still predominantly blue. The mayor of Miami-Dade is a Democrat. She's a Democrat. Palm Beach is also kind of mixed, but it leans more so blue. You know, these are the top 3 biggest counties in the state. If just, this is 3 out of 67 counties. So if just slightly more people in the entire state of Florida went out to vote, then we would have had Andrew Gillum in 2018, who was a very left-leaning progressive candidate. Hence why the election was so close. In 2022, I don't know why they were trying. I mean, you hear me saying it. I don't know why, like, the Florida Democratic Party was trying to push Charlie Crist so much. Maybe because he was governor before in Florida. However, he was a Republican at the time. Then he became an independent, and then he became a Democrat. So I guess they figured that, running a more moderate white man who's been governor before would work, but that wasn't, a good strategy. They definitely should have had Nikki Fried, but Nikki Fried did not win the primary. I voted for Nikki Fried in the 2022 primary, but she did not win. And I was sad because I really liked her. She was actually an elected official. She was elected as like the chair of like agricultural development in the state of Florida. She was the only elected Democrat at the time. And I don't know. I felt like the math was easy to just, try to get behind her because she was actually elected. Everybody else was a Republican elected. She was the only Democrat. So she clearly knew how to talk to the people. I don't know. But yeah, I feel as though, people have a fear of voting because, or like they don't vote because, doing nothing is easier. If you actually do vote, then you feel a little bit responsible. However, you might as well vote because if you're going to be in this country and if you know people who live in this country and you care about these people who live in this country, then you should vote. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Of course, there are instances where it might be incredibly difficult to get to a polling place. You can do mail-in ballot. You can request a mail-in ballot. That's one way of doing it. I prefer going in. I just like that, and I vote early. I don't know if it's throughout the entire state of Florida, but I do know that in my county, they have 2 weeks of early voting, where you can just go to any early voting place. You don't have to just go to your precinct, because I understand that your precinct might be far away if there's instances of voter suppression. But I just go to my local library, which is very close to me, and I just vote there. There's usually not much of a line. I usually go in like the middle of the day or something, or even you can even vote on like a Saturday. I've voted on Saturdays several times. Still no line really. Only this time in 2020 there was actually a line because it was the pandemic, and it was just a very high stakes election, just like this one for 2024. Yeah, like you don't have to be perfect in terms of voting. You just have to vote in a better direction than where we're going now. You just have to do a little bit of research. I understand, like, I feel like that's the R word, research, because it's not, like a lot of news and things, it can be confusing. You don't really know how to trust politicians, and you're not really, I shouldn't recommend that you do. I'm all for getting rid of incumbents, like, especially if they've been there for several years and they haven't really been doing much, then just vote them out. Like, I'm going to vote the clerk of courts out, Brenda Foreman. I want her out really badly. She's been there for a very long time, and I've just heard terrible things about her. So it's time to get somebody new. I don't see why not. I understand that the fear of the unknown could be a reason why you might not try to do anything. You might not try to move. Not even necessarily like move out of state or like an actual move, but like make a move. Whether it's to ask somebody out or apply for a new job or, something like that. Because if you apply for a new job and you get the job, then you have to make the decision of whether or not you want to stay at your current job if you are employed, or go to this other job where you will be the new person. You will have to learn new technologies, new systems, new people, new names. As small as that may sound, that could be scary because you might be comfortable at your current job, and then you go to a different job and you have to be like new again and hope that you can actually kick ass at this job, and like hope that you weren't like lying about your skill set and have to like give yourself confidence once again for your skill set. So like that can be scary. And I think that's why a lot of people just kind of don't try things. I know I say it time and time again to just do it scared, like, because what's on the other side of it can only make you stronger. Like that's it. Like it can't take away from you. It can only make you stronger. Is to just, if there's something that you want to do, or if there's something that you're not certain of doing it, still just do it. And yeah, and then like you now have that experience under your belt, and now you have a better idea for next time if you choose to do it. For example, even me podcasting, I've been doing this for about 2 years now, at least my own personal podcast. But I've been doing a live stream called the Melanated Council on YouTube and Twitch for years. It's easier to do that because it's live and, you're just talking, you're having a good time. And also I have 2 other co-hosts, Toby and Ron. So I'm not there alone. Whereas when I'm here on my podcast, The Agreeable Gray Area, it's a little scary, I won't lie. I do enjoy it. I do enjoy, like, the challenge of it, the fear of it, because this is me literally facing something that I've always wanted to do for, like, years. Years. I've always wanted to get into, like, this form of media. I've always been, like, when I was, like, 13 or so, on, like, watching YouTube videos, thinking it was so cool that these people were just talking about their lives, like Kev Jumba, if you remember him. I remember, like, totally forgetting about YouTube and, never really using it for, like, a good chunk of my life because of ads and not really knowing what to look up on YouTube. Maybe if I just needed help with something, like fixing a part on my car or, I don't know, something around the house, I would look it up on YouTube. Or if it, like maybe like watching like a news thing, but it'd usually just be, I don't know, like whatever I'd use YouTube for it wasn't really like as consistent as I use it for now. But I remember, like years later, I was watching Cartoon Network. I must have been like in my 20s, and I saw Kev Jumba on Cartoon Network, like, like some Cartoon Network ad of some kind. And I was like, holy shit, like, he really made it. He's really out here doing it. And it's simply because he was just being himself on YouTube. People came and watched his stuff, like, all the time. And I was one of those people who would just, watch him, and I just enjoyed it. I don't really know why. Maybe it just felt like a friend. Maybe it was just because that's something that I wanted to do as well. But I was just like afraid of doing it because, I never really like recorded myself, and I didn't really have like any kind of support per se. I remember one time like I recorded something and I thought it was funny. I thought I enjoyed it, my like 13-year-old self. and I showed it to my brother, and he was just like, he said something like, what did he say? He was just like, "Oh, you're just acting like that guy on YouTube, blah blah blah. That guy that you follow, or something like that." He said something, and I'm not trying to just do like the stereotypical man voice. Like that's literally how he sounds. Like he just like he sounds like that. It's like, oh wow, like that cringy. Like I don't know if you felt it in your like in you like in your gut, in your chest, like oh, like yeah. And that's why like I had to live with that. Had to live with that guy. And you're like, yeah. And so I'm like, yeah, of course, let me like not do that. I was like, yeah, I'm so uncool, but maybe if I actually did do that, I would have been, I wouldn't say like happier, but I don't know, maybe I'd just be doing something completely different than what I'm doing now. I always feel like I've been like living my bee life. Just like I like what I do, but do I love what I do? No. like when I think about the things that I love to do, it's kind of embarrassing because it doesn't really seem like much, but it is what I love to do though. Like I genuinely love to just have conversations with friends and even strangers. I love when it's, like over a glass of beer or a glass of wine. Because you can just kind of open up a little bit more and it becomes like a more relaxed environment. And it's just like it just becomes like really fun. So I've decided to lean more into that, do what it is that I'm good at, do what it is that I actually enjoy doing, because there really isn't a reason not to. I still haven't really found a reason not to do that. I am honestly, if you're listening to this, you're probably one of my friends or a friend of a friend, but I would love to have it, record a podcast episode with you. Whether it's in person, if you live in South Florida, if you know somebody who lives in South Florida and you found this podcast somehow, I don't know how, but if you did, cool. I love that you're here. I love you for it. I love that for you. But yeah, no, I am going to get into my video recording era, something that I've wanted to do since like middle school. I've wanted to, like get into that. It's just weird like saying these things out loud because I've just denied it from myself for so long, and the more I think about it and like the more I realize it's just there's no reason for me not to. There's nothing really to lose and just everything to gain in my opinion. And who knows, it might lead me to a really awesome career where I am just talking to people and like making money that way. I don't know if I want to be a content creator per se. I just want to be someone who just has great conversations with people, great conversations with interesting people, with people I can learn from. Because I do believe, and I do know that there's something that you can learn from anybody, whether they want to, believe it or not, but you absolutely can. Anyway, with that said, I want to thank everyone for listening to this episode. Sorry that it took so long. Middle fingers to Adobe Audition because I don't know, like I'm going to save this like immediately after I finish, and hopefully it doesn't eat it in half. You can listen to this podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, or you can go to agreeablegrayarea.com. I fixed the website. I am so proud of myself. I don't know what the heck was going on. I had to move my domain name from Google Domains because Google decided to sell their domains to Squarespace. And I totally forgot to try to move them because I guess out of fear, I didn't know how to do that, but I had to figure out how to do that because I truly enjoy spending as little money on websites as possible, and that includes domain names. So I use Cloudflare. They're actually just like a great software. Like they're just like a great system. Anyway, I highly recommend them. Like my domain costs like $10, like a little bit over a year. Squarespace, it's like they're honoring the Google domains for like $12 for maybe like a year. Then afterwards, it's going to go up to like 14 or something. I know that's still like not a lot for a year, but $10 trumps $14 any day out of the week. So, and also with Cloudflare, you can you get the security, the HTTPS for free, which is great. So like I highly recommend Cloudflare. I've heard good things about Pork Bun, but Pork Bun looks like one of those where like for the first year it's cheap, and then after the year it goes up a little bit. And I don't really like the thought of things fluctuating. I just want one price for everything, and then just leave me the hell alone. So with that said, email me at agreeablegrayarea@gmail.com. And yeah, no, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.